We chose Wildest Dreams as the single, and we also chose it to be the song that we played on the Give Me a Turn Dead, just as like a taster really for the album.
It was a cross between sort of Man of the Beast and Up the Hills, that kind of up, sort of a driving kind of riff. And I sort of put it together in a couple of hours and then played it with Steve, and he said that made a great single, and he wrote the words. And there we had it, it was came together pretty quickly.
It's an up-tempo, fairly optimistic, I want to live my life and do what I want to do. And you can too if you only just want to visualise your dreams and off you go,
There are a few shows for Wildest Dreams of different directors and people that were field of music. And the new guy that we're using, he's doing a lot of animated stuff, and we thought, wow, great.
When we heard that he was going to do, he was proposing all animation, and he just came up with some sketches. Not necessarily of what the final animation would be, but of the kind of direction, the way it would make you feel if you looked at it. I mean, like that's great. One of those is a picture of hell, but you're not quite sure whether or not it looks kind of cool. You think, wow, I'd really quite like to be in hell if that was going on. But then as you look around, you think, oh my god, and if that was going on as well.
It's one of the shorter, snappier songs on the album. There's some quite diverse and thematic songs on there which are quite epic oriented, but this particular one's short and snappy and straight to the point, and it's just pure rock and roll.
We've been playing it obviously since the beginning of the tour, and a lot of the fans have been travelling around with us, so they're singing along, it's like they know this song already, so it's a big chorus, and just, especially the audience, half of them know it. So
I think it's been downloaded on the internet already, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Probably Bruce has invited everybody to record it every night. It doesn't take them long, does it, really? And I think that's a great indication of the strength of the song, because everybody's into it, and obviously playing new stuff at a show without people having heard the album cut or the single version of it. I think it's great.
Yeah,
it's going down great. And the more we're into the tour, the better it's going down.
Each album is like a diary of part of your life, and so we're very proud of everything we've done. It's been, you walk away from the studio thinking you feel very satisfied, very rewarded from doing this album. But this one is, but it's just pushing out a little bit more. The guys are saying very progressive, and I think there's some musical avenues that we've gone down that we haven't been down before. And I think for a Maiden fan listening to the Dance of Death album, I think it'll be kind of very surprised, because it kind of leads you in with a couple of straight ahead kind of rock tracks, and then it kind of takes you deeper. And it's one of those albums you play more and more, and there'll be sort of subliminal almost, or the way it's been mixed, of stuff right in the background. So it's a kind of musical experience.
It's diverse. It's got some incredible thematic content to it. I think there's some great playing on it, and there's also some really stock rock and roll songs, short, sharp bangs to the brain, which I think every album needs that. But there's also some quite deeper songs too, and I'm really proud of it.
Well, Kevin is great to work with. It's the third album, I suppose, if you include the live thing. And I think the first time round working with him, everyone's kind of getting to know each other and the way they work and everything else. And we just, this time round it went much quicker, because there's not kind of the getting to know period.
Why did you come in and have a quick listen, and then we'll do a couple more?
He instinctively knows what a musician wants to hear. I'm a singer, I like to hear these kinds. He doesn't mess around. There's no, it took us 3 weeks to mix this track. If he can't mix it in a day, he said, well, there's obviously something seriously wrong here. If we can't get a mix of a song out in a day that sounds good and rocks, then obviously we're barking up the wrong tree.
We allow ourselves 6 weeks to write the album, and we don't write on the road. So it's all a bit of a nerve-wracking experience, really, because it's exciting, but it's worrying at the same time, because you never know what you're going to come up with. And obviously there's pressure, because you've got to come up with the goods and make sure you've got a great album.
We had 7 tunes worked up, rehearsed and written in the rehearsal period before Christmas. So we went in armed with 7 tunes, and the other 4 were worked on in the room. So that took more time than it would have normally had we worked them out in the rehearsal room before. So there was an interesting period on it. Even like New Frontier was done in this year. We learnt it, a couple of other tunes, and then boom.
We wanted to record it live. So not many bands do that anymore.
Yeah. As we went through the recording process of it, more and more ideas started creeping in, some of them which we hadn't even dealt with in rehearsals. More and more ideas started creeping in as vibe, you know. If those walls could talk, you know, but yeah, it has an atmosphere. It was just a good environment to work in, you know. We need a big studio because there's a lot of us now, you know. 3 guitar players and 6 of us all together, so
It's actually tried since then to change a few things around and make them look nice. And it wasn't nice that we wanted them to look odd and a bit strange and you know, because that's the sort of idea that the song conjures up. So we actually made him go back to the original idea. You know, when you're writing a song, you're trying to create a mood or some imagery or something kind of in your mind when you're writing words and stuff like that. And that in turn creates imagery for like the album artwork and for videos and stage sets and everything.
I think in general that I've detected quite an appetite for a little bit of variance, a little bit of change in the Maiden sound. They're actually quite pleased when we come up with something that's not just different for the sake of being different, but that's also displays a bit of imagination and a bit of flair.
I think we're just playing better than ever. I think the band is sounding better than ever. You know, we're all a bit older and wiser. You know, give each other a bit more space, and it's just great. You know, for me, it's better than it was the first time. You know.
The Dance of Death tour I'm really looking forward to. Thus far, we've got an extensive tour up till Christmas, going through all of Europe, and then in January, February, and March, we're basically going to be covering everywhere else.
We just get new young fans all the time. It's amazing. There's like 3 generations of fans out there, and some of the fans weren't even born when we did the first album. It's pretty scary. And it's great because, you know, the young ones at the front driving around and jumping about and going berserk, and then the audience gets older as it goes back. And but you know, it's incredible. We still keep getting new young fans. It's very healthy for the band. I suppose they probably pass their albums down to their younger brothers or even their kids or whatever. And long may it continue to happen, is what I say.
Passion Barrel is going to be sort of a monumental track, and musically there's so much stuff going on in there, so you have to be like knuckle down and live, you know, to get all this song correct. It's going to be a big achievement.
It's also a challenge for us, I think, to go and play a lot of the material. You know, we could go out and play a best off set all the time, and that's the easy way out, but that's not the way we work.
There will actually be a big segment of the show when the body language and the music will carry the whole thing.
whatever we take from this album, each song is so strong in its own right. As Dave said, it's very, you know, Passchendaele's very epic-y, like Dance of Death even, you know. That's going to be quite a challenge live. But any of the new stuff is, I think, it's going to fit so well into the new stage show that we're going to do.
For Maiden, the two worlds of the album world and performing world have actually become separate. They used to depend upon one another. You couldn't go out and do some gigs if you didn't have an album. Well, that's manifest nonsense, and we just played to 700,000 people without a record. At the same time, if you put a record out, people expect a few gigs. But there's a variety of ways of promoting a record. I don't think Iron Maiden fans would be really happy if they got a new record, and if they get some gigs as well, then terrific. You know, maybe we'll just do 1 or 2 shows for really hardcore fans. Maybe we will decide to go out and go, you know what, let's incorporate a festival tour and do a new album on it as well.
We get asked the question of longevity many times, and I always say the same thing really, that you know, if you knew the secret of why we're still around, then we'd bottle it and sell it. And I really don't know. I think it's the sort of thing that you have to go and ask the fans as to why we're still popular and everything. But I like to think it's great songs and great live shows. We've toured live, you know, for many years now. We've done so many world tours, and when we do a world tour, we really do one. I mean, we do, you know, anything between sort of 7 and 12 months at a time, and we do lots of them. And I think that really these days it's got to be quality and not quantity. I think you get to a point where we have to be realistic that, you know, we can't physically go and do you know, 6 nights a week everywhere for 9 months. At the end of the day, it's very tough, and I think that in the future we'll be cutting the tours down probably to, you know, 3 or 4 months rather than, you know, 9 months.
Short bursts of touring is much more enjoyable, and you find you can focus on it and give it 100%, you know, every night.
We want to keep it fresh. We want to keep it real and honest and alive, and the best way of doing that is to be real and honest with everybody who supports Iron Maiden.